Today, man, I've been looking forward to this. This guy is a doctor from England, a freedom fighter, a father, a husband, overall great man, doing retreats, helping people heal, and just always looking for the truth. Doesn't care what people say about him. As long as he's getting to the truth. And man, bro, please let me know what I left out. I feel like I left out so much.
No, I think that was quite an introduction, mate. How about I just use you for my introductions as well? You can, you
Every
can do.
time, do it.
It's funny. So there's this doctor called Dr. Suzanne Humphreys. She's the author of Dissolving Illusions. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's about how all these childhood diseases went down over time with clean water and sanitation, and actually nothing to do with vaccines. And she's been mentioned quite a few times in the book on Joe Rogan. And she was on Joe Rogan's podcast about a month ago. Anyway, she tweeted on X. She posted on X. I love Doc Malik. He's like a honey badger. Blah blah blah. And I was like,
Oh yeah.
yeah. And you know that you
Hell
just
yeah.
said he doesn't give a shit. You're right. I don't know if you've ever seen the video. Honey badgers don't give a shit. You ever seen
I
that
haven't
video?
seen it, huh?
Oh my god, dude, watch it. It's just amazing. It's about these honey badgers. Now, and it's got a little Chinese voice background. Honey badgers don't give a shit.
Bro, have you always been like that?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
since you were a kid, you've always been like that, or
Yeah, yeah. I think because I did a little bit of bullying as a kid, and I realized I had to stand up for myself, um, because no one else is going to do that, and I've had to just fight so much, not even physically, but like verbally and psychologically with people. Always trying to put me down, always trying to make me, yeah, just disadvantage me, or and I've growing up in the 80s, 1980s as a young brown Asian kid, you know. I know in America are Koreans and Chinese, but here in the UK, Asians also include Indian subcontinent. Asia, the continent, is quite big. So, my parents were born in Pakistan. I was born in Scotland. But, when I was growing up, we were like the only brown kids in the school. So it was quite tough at times.
yeah.
And then I went to a good school, but then I was the only working class kid there. So now it wasn't the color or religion that was an issue. It was the fact that I'm working class. And then for university and medicine, I just struggled sometimes. Like there's, it's very institutional, and I didn't fit in. And yeah, I've just come across a lot of obstacles, and I think the problem is when I see something wrong, I say it, I call it out, and other people
Dude, I
play the
love that.
yeah, and other people play the game and schmooze and suck up to people and think about the politics, how they can advantage themselves and better themselves and climb the greasy ladder and
It's
suck.
quick for somebody to say for you to disagree with them and then be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Instead of like, wait a minute, like whether it's the truth or not, people are it's very. I've noticed that all the time. People are super fast to just agree, or if they disagree with you, they'll just like they just fucking hate you. But people are so easy just to be swayed, just to not cause any waves.
Amen. 100%. So I'm I'm the opposite. So on my wife's phone from day one, do you know what she saved me as under contacts? What did she call me? Guess.
Brown Baldy.
No. She called me trouble.
Oh, I could see that.
So I remember once, like, she's on her phone going for a recent call list. And I was like, "Who is this fucking trouble always ringing you?" And she goes, "That's you." I went,
Oh
"What?"
yeah.
She goes, "Yeah, I've saved you as trouble." I'm like, "Okay." Part of me's relieved it's not some other guy, but what the fuck? I'm saved as trouble. Like she goes, "Yeah, you're trouble." So
How long you guys been together?
it's our 11th anniversary in a few weeks' time. So and
Oh
we've
wow.
been
Oh, so you have been like that for a while then, for a long time.
Yeah, so we've been like, I mean, that was like 13 years ago though when she saved me. So that's a long time ago. So I saved her on my phone as Little Trouble. So she's Little
Was
Trouble.
that?
I've saved her on my phone as Little Trouble. So she's Little Trouble, and I'm Trouble.
Hell yeah, you're the big trouble.
Big Trouble.
I love it, bro. So are okay, so you were a doctor, you lost your job, or what happened, bro? And all this happened during COVID, right? Things changed.
Things changed. So listen, I'm still a doctor. No one is taking that away from me. I'm still a doctor. I am more of a doctor than 99% of mainstream MDs. Right? I'm an MD.
100%.
And I was an orthopedic surgeon fixing broken bones, trauma, specializing in foot and ankle. So on my on-call trauma weeks, I'd be fixing clavicles, shoulders, elbows, wrists, hips, knees. And then, but my specialist elective work was all foot and ankle. So arthritis around the ankle, ligament damage, Achilles tendon issues, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was getting a bit frustrated with the medical system around about 2017. I just realized it wasn't working. It was fake. They pretended to care about the patient, but the hospital didn't give a fucking damn. And this is
What
the
made you
pub
realize that, bro? Just little by little, or just you saw something specific?
a little by little, but the last kind of like 3 years, I was head of the department. So now you're going to all the management meetings. Now you get to see things behind the door, what's actually said, what are the agendas. And I realized everything was a fake, everything was a fraud. They would go, at the meetings, they would say it was patient first. But it was anything but that. It was about how to save money, how to get patients off the waiting list, how to like not see and treat as many. And it's all about money. It was nothing about patients. And
Nothing
I
to really
also,
help people.
yeah, not really. So it's very mechanical and cold. Patients are just a number. I was getting increasingly frustrated at the fact that everything was protocol driven, guideline driven. If you don't do as the, you know, two or three people right at the top of the country who've written some directive do, then, you get into trouble. And it's like, what? I just want to treat patients the way I want to treat them. So I left the public system and went full time private so I could treat patients the way I wanted to. So instead of
Yeah.
being forced to treat patients in 5 or 10 minute consults, I was like, no, I'm going to spend half an hour, 45 minutes. And in some cases, I'll spend an hour if it's a complex case. I'm going to follow my patients up much longer to see what effect my treatment has on them, see what time does to them. Whereas, like in the public system, the managers were like dictating everything. Right? You could only see patients for two follow up appointments. Hurry up and operate on them, or just discharge them. So you're given a kind of binary choice. Well, are you going to operate on them? If you are, just get on with it, or send them home. And I was like, maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I would want to try different things, like help them with their sleep and their physio and stress and all that kind of stuff. But you weren't
Makes
allowed.
sense.
Yeah. So working in the private sector was great because I dictated the terms. But then I soon realized actually the insurance companies were now doing exactly what the managers were doing in the public sector. The insurance companies were dictating to me and the patients how they were going to be managed and what kind of care they're going to receive. The insurance company, first of all, dictates to you which consultant you can see, which doctor you can see, which hospital you can go to, how many appointments you're allowed, and what scans and tests you're allowed. And why should an insurance company be doing this? An insurance company's job should
Wow.
simply be dishing out the check because after all, you pay a monthly installment, and if everything's fine, great. But when something happens and you need that extra bit of cash, then you go back to the insurance company and say, look, I've paid into you for 5 years. Now I've got a problem. I want you to pay my bills. That's it. That should be the financial arrangement. But what's now
So they would
happened?
sorry to cut you off, bro.
Yeah,
So they would tell people, they would say, "Okay, you can only see this doctor or this doctor and only this amount of times." Like,
yeah.
what the fuck?
So it's accredited. So you can see our accredited doctor or our favored doctor or our blue plan doctor. It's all bullshit terminology. And if you want to see
Yeah.
this other doctor, you're going to have to pay extra. That's how it
Oh,
started off. And then
wow.
it was like, you're not allowed to see that doctor. They're not on our list. You have to see only one of the ones that we've acknowledged. And the ones that have signed up to their contract, and they're set fees. They can't set their own fees. They have to accept whatever the insurance company gives them. The patients are given a list of like 5 doctors and said, you can only go to these 5. And, oftentimes they're not very good doctors. Oftentimes they're junior doctors. They're not very experienced doctors. They're doctors who are just desperate for any cash, so they'll sign up to anything. And then, yeah, you'll be dictated, oh, you can't have that many follow ups. You can only have two follow ups after your surgery anymore. You have to pay yourself. You've got, you can only have five treatments of physio. Anything more, you're going to have to pay yourself. All this kind of stuff. And I would get letters from the insurance companies going, why are you sending your patients for scans? And, why are you doing this? And I was like, it's none of your goddamn business. Oh, well, if you carry on like this, we're going to stop sending our patients to you. So this is the kind of stuff that was happening. And every year they would also say, oh, the fee that you get for this operation is going down. The fee you get for your outpatient consult is going down. So, the fees now that surgeons are getting, and like it's very different in America. America, you get paid a lot more, but in the UK, it's not that much. The fees that a surgeon is getting now is pretty much is less than what they were getting 20 years ago. Like, think about that. Like 20 years ago, you were getting more as a surgeon for a consult and an operation. So now what happens is the surgeon and the doctor goes, right, the insurance company's paying me less. I'm making less money. Okay, the way I can get around this is instead of spending an hour with a patient or half an hour with a patient, I'm going to see a patient every 10 minutes.
Pump them out.
Pump them out, pump them in, pump them out. And I'm going to do interventions, drug treatments, operations, investigations, and make money out of all of that. So it's a race to the bottom. The insurance companies have created this race to the bottom where doctors just want to quickly see someone. The more they see through the door, the more money and paychecks they get. And they're kind of used to that in the public sector as well, because that's what they're told by the managers. They're quick and you know, patient comes in, give them a pill. Patient comes in, give them an injection. Patient comes in, offer them a surgery. Otherwise, bugger
Now,
off.
now, do
That's it.
you think? Sorry, man. Sorry to cut you off, bro.
No, no, go.
Do you think that these doctors, when they were becoming doctors, that they were like that, or they became like that because of money, because of like you see you know what I'm saying?
Good question. I think it's a bit of both. I mean, like I had this guy on my podcast, Dr. Paul Hobday. He's written a book called The Deceit Syndrome, and how he's very disenchanted, not very happy with the NHS. He left early. But in the podcast, he says to me, I never really wanted to be a doctor, but it was a good career. And as soon as I got enough money, I left. I retired early. So he retires at like 55, earning almost £100,000 a year on a pension, and he's left now. And
Yeah.
and he's made it clear, like he didn't really want to do medicine, did it because it's a secure job, got paid lots of money, and when he could, he left. There's
Wow.
a lot of people like that. There's a lot of
So he
people
didn't give
like
a
that.
fuck.
Well, it's you get prestige, you get respect. You're a big man, big woman. Look at me. So if you've got a problem with your ego, if you've got low self-esteem, if you feel inadequate, guess what? Become an MD, and then you're a god. Then you can strut
Hmm.
around and go, look at me, and everyone worships you. Suddenly you feel much better about yourself.
Yeah.
That's a few. I
Yeah.
think the majority go into med school because they genuinely are fascinated by science. They want to help people. Their parents were doctors. It seems like fun. It's got great opportunities, and it does all of that, right? So most people, I would say, go into it with good intentions, but then you go through med school, sleepless hours, exams every 2 to 4 weeks, and assignments, sleep deprivation, stress, anxiety. They break you down. It's trauma based mind control. There's no reason for med school to be like that. They literally beat the shit out of you like young army recruits. And why do they do that to young army recruits? Because they want to break you so that you're now a clean canvas on which they can imprint their new.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Build
So
you back up to how they want you to think.
absolutely. So you go into med school bright eyed, inquisitive, open eyed, curious, and you come out a little automaton, a good little doctor. You're gonna do as you're told. And then in the early years of your training, not even early years, like 5, 10 years easily, you're still running around like crazy, working long hours. and you haven't got time to question. I mean, you're just too busy trying to get ahead on your career. It's
Yeah.
competitive. You got colleagues. You got to do research. You got to shine above everyone else. I was in that role. I know what it's like. I was totally in the rat race. I don't have time to think about anything else. And then because you're super specialized, your vision really tunnel vision. You just see this much, and so you get a lot of knowledge about a very small area of what is health. You don't see the big picture, and they don't connect to anything. They never say, "Oh, consider liver function and brain function and kidney function and everything together." It's like you're just a brain specialist. You're just a
You,
liver specialist.
you know Dr. Flynn, the guy that I hooked you up with?
Yeah, I haven't spoken to him. Sorry.
He was telling me that his definition of a specialist is someone that knows more and more of less and less about less and less. And he was explaining to me, he said, a heart surgeon, for example, they might give you an aspirin because that's going to thin out your blood for your heart, but then it might cause a stroke. He said they don't look at the rest of your body.
Yeah, 100%. And then the other problem is, remember, the money aspect. So you come through med school completely broke, right, and indebted. In the UK now, it's like £80,000, like $100,000. In the States, it's like what, $400,000. So you come out, young doctor, like neck deep in debt. Now, you need to get ahead in your career.
Survival mode.
You're in survival. You want to pay off those bills and then start building a home and a family and get a car like everyone expects you to do when you're a consultant or a doctor. So you got all these
Yeah.
bills to pay, and then are you going to start calling out something if you don't agree with your boss? Like, and your boss will write a reference for you. They'll recommend you for the next job. If you piss them off, well, that's really bad, because then when you start applying for jobs, they might turn around to you and go, "Hey, why don't you have a reference from your last job? Why have you got a reference from last year? What about your last job?" And you're
Yeah.
like, "Well, I didn't get on well with them. I called them out." That's not going to
I
go
wasn't I
down
wasn't
well.
a good little bitch.
I wasn't a good little bitch. That's not going to go down well. So now you
Yeah.
got these little conformists. Everybody just getting along, going along to get along, and not ruffling any feathers, not questioning anything. And if that's not bad enough, then you've got the medical research system, the medical journals, which have now all been captured by big pharma. There's no questioning of the science. There's no, do you know, going from med school 25 years ago, I never had one lecture on vaccines. Not how they
Not one.
work, not one. Not how they work, not
So,
how,
what did you think
nothing.
like a vaccine was? Did you think, oh, it's just like because they always tell everybody it's like, oh, it's part of the virus so that your body gets used to it and you don't get it, right?
Dude, that is literally my fucking medical knowledge at the time. Oh, we get a little bit
Wow.
of virus, we break it up so it's not harmful, and then we put it in your body so your body recognizes it. And then when it does see the virus, it goes, "Oh, hello, I know you. I'm going to put you in prison." That kind of basic shit. Like that dumb level crap. And that the
Wow.
real magic trick is you go through med school without really studying anything about vaccines. And you go in going, "I don't know what fucking vaccine. What's a fucking vaccine? I need to have vaccines to do med school. I need Hep B. Okay, right, if you tell me so." And then you come out of med school going, "Vaccines are like the most amazing medical invention in the last 100 years." And then
Fuck.
and then you ask the doctors, like, "Really? Like, on what basis are you saying that?" "Well, they're like, because they're like vaccines." And you're like, "Yeah, but like what do you know about them? Like, what are adjuvants?" "I don't know. Like, why are you asking me these weird questions? You're not like an anti-vaxxer, are you? Like, we all know
Oh
vaccines are
fuck.
great." And it's like the cognitive dissonance is crazy. Like, my wife is like 10 years younger than me. She's a doctor. So she went to med school 10 years after I did. And I said to her, "Did you ever get any lectures on vaccines?" And she goes, "Huh, no, no, I didn't." And I asked another doctor, like from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, "How many lectures on vaccines have you had?" And they go like, "Huh, I think maybe one." And they said it was really good, but that was it.
It was a
Uh,
2 minute thing. Just oh yeah, make sure that people take this because it's good.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, that's it. And so,
Wow, dude, how
recently,
scary is that, bro?
Dude, it's so fucking terrifying. So I'll give you an example. There's a couple of people. There's lots of TV doctors and celebrity doctors who are out there promoting vaccines, right?
Yeah.
So there's a guy on Instagram who follows me, and he goes, "Oh, dude, you need to check these people out." Melanie, let me just look her name up. Melanie Matthew, PhD, right? She's a PhD immunologist. She's got 168,000 followers. Um, yeah. Can I share my screen? Maybe not. Anyway, so basically, so her husband, he's also what you call it, a celebrity TV kind of person. I've forgotten his name. He's also Ruben or something, or I don't know what his name is. Hold on a sec. I'll find it. I'll find it for you. This is important. He's got even more followers. He's got a shit ton of followers, right? And they're all
Hmm.
promoting the vaccines. Oh, here it is. Ruben underscore allergy. Oh man, you should check these guys. He's got a 1 million followers. His name's
And
Zachary.
he's a doctor and he's telling people
Yeah,
that they should be taking it.
yeah. Zachariah Rubin MD. So that's Rubin underscore allergy, pediatric allergist, right? Semi pro hula hooper. There you go. And so basically, these guys are promoting the shots, right? I'm very
They're still
passionately.
promoting them.
Oh god, big time, dude. So can I share my screen? Can you give me permission to share my screen?
Of course, please.
All right, all right. Can you see this? Look at this.
Yes, we can.
RFK Jr. must resign. RFK Jr. firing all CDs. Look, I mean, this is all he talks about. Like, look at this guy. Look at this guy. Look at this
Oh, very
picture of health. Doesn't it look like a picture of health, Ruben? RFK Jr. fires all members of and then he does these little rants about how it's terrible. So, and him and his wife are very passionate about vaccines. Now, look at this. CDC now advises shared decision making for kids' COVID shots.
Dale pa allá, Bernie. Sorry, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me now?
Say that again. I could. It's because I couldn't
Yeah.
hear you. My daughter was
It's all right.
laughing.
I said, look, can you see this now on his Instagram feed? CDC now advises shared decision making for kids' COVID shots and does not eliminate access. The guy's still talking about all this stuff. Look at this. He's still promoting the vaccines, and as does his what you call it, his wife. And then he goes, and so this guy messages me and goes, look, they've stopped tagging me in posts because I keep saying to them, get Doc Malik on your show. All right, right. Go on Doc Malik's
Yeah,
show. Debate with him about vaccine safety. Melanie or
yeah,
Ruben, Zachariah Ruben, go on Doc Malik's show and talk about why vaccines are so great. And
yeah.
they're like they've blocked him now. And
Oh wow.
I've written to so many like doctors, like DM them, and then I did a public letter to all the doctors. I said to all the social media doctors, TV doctors, Instagram doctors, all the doctors pushing the shots, come on my show and let's talk about it. Come on my
Yeah.
show
Do
and
do
tell
you
me
think
why you're
he's getting paid to do that, or why?
dude.
What do you think the reasons are?
Dude, I don't know. I can't. I don't know. I don't know the reasons. What we do know is certain doctors in the UK were getting paid. Were getting paid. I think. I think some people are ideologically just bought. Like they're just deluded, mate. So I just want to show you something. Where are we? No, no, I can't. I'm gonna change this screen. I'm gonna add it here. So basically, I wrote an open letter. Remember, I said that I wrote an open letter to all the celebrity social media doctors.
Yeah,
You know, you've got them in the States. We've got them here in the UK. So I did an open letter. I said to all the doctors who have had and continue to promote vaccinations, COVID-19 and others. I said, my understanding is that all of you at some point in the last few years have recommended vaccinations, be they childhood schedule, flu, or COVID-19, publicly, either on social media or TV. So what I've said is, look, I would like to invite each of you on my podcast to discuss why you recommend vaccines as well as their safety and efficacy profiles. For transparency's sake, I am coming from a position where I no longer trust vaccinations, the vaccine industry, and big pharma. But I think it's important to keep an open mind and have respectful debates. Many people are wary of your motives and are no longer trusting of doctors because of what we have been through the last few years. My invitation isn't a way of me catching you out. There is no agenda but seeking the truth. Why, heck, I'll even post my questions here so you aren't caught off guard. Here are my questions, and there's lots of them.
Oh, that's good.
You know, have you ever been paid by big
They
pharma
should
to
be
put?
happy to
Yeah,
if you're promoting something, you dude, I've had people ask me to promote products, and it's like if I take something and I think it's a good product and it actually works for me, I don't need to get paid. I'm happy to um recommend it, but it's like if I'm not sure that okay, it's working good for me and I don't have those type of answers, then I'm just going to say, dude, I don't know.
100%.
Not going to be recommending it.
Exactly. So I wrote in here, I said, look, have you ever been paid by big pharma to promote a vaccine or drug? Which company? How much? When? How many times? Which product? Or
Oh, they don't want
have you ever
that.
been paid by a big media company or, to promote a drug or vaccine? Which company? How much? When? How many times? Which product? What are the benefits of vaccine? What is the evidence to show they work? How long is the usual follow up for new vaccines? Why are new vaccines never compared with a true placebo? Why are there adjuvants in vaccines? Can you list the adjuvants in vaccines? What do you think of mercury and aluminium being in vaccines? What is the safe dose of mercury and aluminium in the body? What are the toxic effects of mercury and aluminium in the body? Is mercury normally found in the body? What physiological processes involve mercury? Same with aluminium. How much mercury and aluminium is in these
Wow.
vaccines and which one? Are you aware that fetal tissue is used in the research, development, and manufacture of vaccine? Dude, I go on and on. I've got 100 questions, mate. 100. Right. So guess what?
Wow.
How many doctors do you think accepted my invitation to come on my show?
Zero? Maybe one?
Zero, brother.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. Wow, how scary is that?
These guys don't want to come and talk to me. They don't want to. They don't want to talk about why they love their vaccine so much.
Dude, yeah, and so that guy that you showed, like that's recent in these past couple days, he's still just pushing it, promoting it.
Yep. All these people are
But
pushing it. There's so many of them pushing it, dude. So anyway, some of them are
what?
just ideologically just brainwashed. A lot of doctors are. I was. My wife was. Oh, well, the vaccines. Yeah, right. Sure. I started questioning them when around about the 2010 mark. They were pushing the flu shot crazy
Yeah.
and like weird. Like, and I've never liked the hard sell. Like, if I go into a shop and someone's trying to sell hard, I just fucking walk out. I'm not
I'm the
interested.
same, yeah.
It's too much. Oh, sorry. Can I help you with anything? No, I'm just looking. Are you looking for anything in particular? No, no, I'm not looking for any. Are you sure? Because, I can help. No, just can you fuck off?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah. Here,
right.
this one, let's put this one's real good for you.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck do
Just
you know what's
bend
good for
over a
me?
little bit more.
Yeah. So I used to do some part-time work on the weekends when I was a med student to make money. And one of them was working in a clothes shop. And I fucking hated it. I lasted about a month. Like the manager was like, "You need to go up to the clients and the customers and recommend them." I'm like, most of them are women. I'm gonna fucking recommend dresses and blouses to women. Yeah, just try it.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do that. Like, if they want something, I'll help them. If they want a size, I'll go back to the stock room. If they want to pay for it, I'll take it for the. But I'm not gonna go and push fucking shit on them. So I'm like,
Dude,
I just
100%, bro.
it's not me, man. It's not me. So anyway, the flu shot was hard sell. Now, one time I took the flu shot, I developed hay fever fucking afterwards, and I still got the flu. Didn't make any
Yeah.
difference. I felt like shit afterwards. So I started getting really wary of the jabs. And when the kids were getting the jabs, I remember them getting a fever and being really unwell and crying, as babies. I was like, do we need to do all this? Like all these shots now, 2 years, 3 years, fucking 4 years. So I was saying to my wife, like, why do the kids have to have all these shots? And she was like, You're not an anti-vaxxer, are you?" I said, "No, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm just like, I've had all the shots myself, but I'm just like, it seems like a bit crazy. It seems like a lot now, like a lot more than when I was a kid. I don't get it."
For sure.
And there's someone in my family. I don't want to talk about who they are, but I remember when they were born, they're a really smart, bright kid. And then they got their MMR shots. And I remember the day they got it. Like, when I went visiting, we lived quite close, and this girl that used to track me and smile and giggle whenever she saw me, she's just sitting there, like, and I'm like this with my finger in front of her, like, hello, hello, snapping it, like fucking just vacant.
Yeah.
I was like, man, what's wrong with her? And you know what? It was like night and day the difference. She's
Mm.
got autism now. I'm 100% convinced it was the jabs.
And
It
they
was
say, oh, it's genetic.
fuck that.
Genetic my ass.
Genetic my ass. So they do that genetic thing quite a lot, which basically what the genetic thing is a complete cop out. So you got cancer because it's genetic. You got this disease because it's genetic. Basically, what they're saying is your body's flawed and you're fucked. It's your fault. That's
100%.
what they're
Yeah, there's
saying.
nothing you can do about it.
There's nothing you can do about it. It's definitely not our fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault either. It's just genetic. Fuck
Uh-huh.
off.
Dude.
I remember they did the Human Genome Project, which was like, once we unravel the human genome, we will be able to diagnose and treat all diseases. Yeah, well, we did that. What the fuck happened after that? Nothing.
People are worse now.
Well, guess what? Because we've realized it's not the fucking genes. It's not that. It's the lifestyle. It's epigenetics. Your environment, your experiences, the toxins, the food, your trauma, everything affects how your genes are expressed,
Ah,
which
before I
expects your
forget,
metabolic
bro, you
health.
told me about a guy that does epigenetics that you know in the States. Where is he at?
Yeah, I can't remember. I need
Ah,
to look him
shit.
up.
Let me know after,
I'll tell you
please.
afterwards. I'll tell you
All right.
afterwards. Tell you afterwards. We'll do it together. We won't. We
Okay.
won't end the call without me going through the list of podcasters, that I've had, shows that I've done. So basically, it's not your genes that are faulty, and something's causing the autism crisis. And I'm not saying all of it is the vaccines. Autism is a weird kind of spectrum. It's neurological damage, right? Basically, that's what it is: neuroinflammation and damage. And I think there can be lots of different things causing it. So it could be, for example, um, heavy metals, mercury. Could be aluminium. It could be, some other thing in the vaccines. It could be something in the environment. It could be
Hmm.
glyphosates. It could be anything. It could be a combination of all of these things I've mentioned and more. But
For sure.
vaccines are definitely up there as one of the big contributing factors. And I think it's the elephant in the room. And, clearly people
They're
don't want to talk
definitely
about it.
not making it less of a problem.
No, they're not. So, yeah.
Mm. So people were calling you crazy all throughout COVID, bro. Like, what made you say, you know what, I'm just gonna speak out against everything anyway?
So, again, it just comes back to trouble. You know, I I find it very difficult not to speak out when I see something wrong. If there's injustice, if there's something that's not fair, I fundamentally don't like it.
I I know in the States, they were saying that a lot of people that if they didn't get the jab or if they weren't staying like with 6 masks on and staying in their home, then they were just like killing people. Um, were they shaming people like that over there too?
Yeah, just very quickly, coming back to like, why'd you speak up, right? I fell for the fear porn at the beginning for about 3, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck shit, fuck stuff, what's fucking happening? We need to. lockdown, like an idiot. But I'm willing to accept when I do things wrong. Have you noticed that the evil ones never apologize or accept they did anything wrong? Have you noticed
Never.
that? So I did get that fucking wrong. I think I've made more than made up for it though. And then I remember I was an orthopedic surgeon, fucking knucklehead, bones, drills, screwdrivers, shit like that.
Yeah.
So like respiratory virus, I was like, well, I don't know about this shit. I don't feel qualified. Something's not fucking right. But I really started questioning it during lockdown straight away. Like, stay at home until you're dying. Like, that doesn't even fucking make sense. What about early
Hmm.
treatment, fluids, oxygen, all that kind of stuff, supportive measures, vitamin D, vitamin C? Like, there was none of that
Sunlight.
shit. Sunlight, yeah. They were like, just lock up and stay at home. I was like, that fucking sounds madness. And then the masks doesn't make sense because I wore a mask as a surgeon to stop blood going on my face. That was it. That was
Yeah.
it, dude. Seriously, that is the reason surgeons wear a mask. So you don't cough into the wound and you don't get blood in your mouth.
Yeah.
Right?
Makes sense.
That it's that simple, mate. It's not about keeping viruses and stuff like that. So I was like, this is just fucking weird. But I think what really got to me was when they started pushing the jab and mandating it. Because I was like, this goes against informed consent. So what I've just witnessed over the last year and a half is complete fear porn, not telling the truth about alternative treatments, not telling the truth about the severity of COVID and the illness. They made it feel like it was killing everybody. It's a really deadly disease that if you got it, you're gonna just fucking die. That was not true. The risk of dying of COVID was so ridiculously small, it was crazy. It was like a flu season. It was no different than any other fucking year. And in the
Nobody seemed to
UK,
die from the flu those years.
yeah, interesting, yeah. So was
That
it even
was I was like, is nobody dying from the flu anymore? And people, no, it's just all COVID.
yeah? And where did
Weird.
that magically disappear? Like, it may well be just flu rebranded. Seriously. So, the average age of the person dying of COVID and nothing else was actually greater than the average life expectancy. So what kind of fucking deadly disease is this? It's just insane. So they lied about that, right? So they overinflated the severity of the problem. Then they basically lied about the fact there's no other treatments, right? And they lied about the fact that you have to do remdesivir and intubation, all this severe shit. And then they lied when they said, look, these vaccines are safe and effective when they weren't. And they weren't even vaccines, they were experimental gene shots, which are
Do you
being
think that they planned on way more people getting the shot than people that did?
no, no, I think they got exactly how many they planned on. A lot of people took the shot. So they lied, and there's a complete lack of informed consent. And the mandates were the cherry on the cake with regards to that. So what I mean by that is, look, when I was a surgeon, right? Say you come and see me. Now, if I was the government during COVID, the way I would treat you then is like say, "Oh my God, Jerry, you've got an ingrowing toenail. This
Yeah.
is really serious. This ingrowing toenail can become septic, and if you're gonna die if we don't do anything." And you're like, "What? It's just an ingrowing toenail." No, Jerry, that's what you think. But I'm telling you, we've had a wave of people coming in with ingrowing toenails, and they're all dead.
Hmm.
Like, and if you don't do something about this ingrown toenail, your granny's gonna get it. Your children are gonna get it. You're gonna get everyone getting this deadly ingrowing toenail.
Yeah.
You're gonna kill people. Now you're like, oh shit. So now you've overinflated the problem. They've guilt tripped you about causing this problem to other people, and then they go, "There's nothing we can do except this very safe and effective operation." Now, what I don't tell you is this very safe and effective operation is not any other operation that we've ever done in the last 300 years. We've cooked it up in the last 2 months in the garage, and I haven't really checked whether it's safe or not. But I tell you it's safe.
Hmm.
And then I tell you, by the way, you need to get this operation. But it's up to you whether you want it or not. But if you want to go back to work and have a living, if you want to meet your friends in the bar and restaurant, you need this operation. If you want to travel or go out to a park, you need to have this operation. Because if you don't have this operation, you're gonna just have to stay at home. You're like, what? And then I go, hey, but there's no pressure. Like, I'm not forcing you. I'm not forcing you.
Yeah.
Like, but like, you can't travel, you can't work, you can't have any recreation, you can't have a job. You
And you
probably
don't care about
lose.
other people.
Yeah, and I like, do you want to kill Granny? Do you want to kill your granny? And now you're like, oh shit, all right, okay, fine. I'll have this new whiz bang, safe and effective toenail ingrowing toenail operation. Anything else that I need to know about? Yeah, like you need this ingrowing toenail operation every 6 months. We
Yeah.
need to just to make sure it's working, because if we don't, it doesn't work anymore. So we'll need to do it every 6 months. Now, dude, if I was your surgeon and I spoke to you like this, what would you think?
Well, I mean, I think the average person would be like, "Man, that sounds like I got to get it. Otherwise, I don't care about other people." And it, all fear based, all fear based.
Wouldn't you want to run out that room though and think, what the fuck? This guy's scary?
Yeah, man. I mean, your average person is gonna just go along with what they say, which is fucking sad.
Yeah. So this is when I got really passionate. And it's also, I was like, this is a total breach of medical ethics, informed consent, respect for bodily autonomy, non malfeasance. Now they're just taking the piss. For 25 years, I've practiced obtaining informed consent. I informed the public. By the way, can you pause? My kids are just outside having a birthday party, and I need to shut the door so it's not as noisy. Can you just
No
pause for a
problem. I
second?
got you.
On the bottom. So where were we?
We were um that you woke up.
Yeah,
What do
the
you
lack of
think?
informed consent. There's a lack of
Yeah,
informed consent.
yeah.
It was just like bullshit. This is wrong. So I went on TV. I went on GB News. I did a petition. I went on my Instagram account, started talking like crazy, saying this is wrong, guys. This is so wrong. And then thankfully the mandates were overturned. Now listen, I wasn't some guy trying to find a new career, trying to get famous. I had a very good gig going on. I was a foot and ankle surgeon, had a nice practice in the countryside, nice practice in the city. I was treating politicians, Hollywood actors, you name it, dude. It was a pretty cool job that I had. It was like, this is
Yeah.
great. So I went back to life. And then in December 2022, I did a tweet on X, and I just said, there's something weird going on. All these injuries and weird conditions, autoimmune, neurological, cardiovascular, stroke, turbo cancers. Maybe it's got something to do with the biggest experiment known to man being rolled out across humanity. Maybe we should just stop and just see what's going on. Dude, it went viral, like 1 million views overnight. And I was like, oh shit. Whoa. Remember, and I had like 900 followers, 800 followers at that point. I had a small account, and it's like overnight, 1 million people are fucking, and everybody's messaging me, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Unfortunately, I also got two emails from two of the big hospitals that I was working for, almost identical, although they're competitors, they're different hospital groups. And the medical directors, the national medical directors for both of these hospitals wrote almost identical letters saying, you've you know broken our social media policy guidelines. Stop posting anything on social media about vaccines and COVID vaccines. Take down your video. And if you ever do this again, we might remove your practicing privileges.
Wow.
And I'm like, what the fuck? So I wrote back
Yeah.
going, what are you talking about? Stick to my scope of practice. I'm more than just an orthopedic foot and ankle surgeon. I'm a doctor first and foremost. And I'm seeing something, a patient safety issue. My colleagues are telling and admitting as much and are too scared to publicly say anything in case something happens to them. I can't
Hmm.
stay quiet about this anymore. Patients of mine have been affected as well. And I'm just saying something's not right. Don't you think it's better that you investigate and prove me wrong than actually shut me up, and I
Instead of
might
shutting you up.
And I might be right.
Yeah.
And then we just had this to and fro for months and months. Demands for meetings, investigations, and clarifications, whatever. Eventually, I did a tweet on the trans issue. I was like, look, this isn't informed consent. This is wrong. This is insanity. You're just like, you're biologically male or biologically female. Everything else is just fucked up. And we're abusing these kids. We're abusing these kids, man. There's no informed
Yeah.
consent. We're taking away these kids for reproductive life, for sexual pleasure, for sexual function, for normal urinary function. Like we're screwing
Ruin
up,
their whole life and they're not even old enough to make it. They don't even know what they want.
right? Dude, my
Adults don't even know what they want.
100%. My little boy, he's 6. He's been walking around for the last month going, I'm a cat. Meow, meow, daddy, meow. Like, am I going to transition him to a cat? Like, this is what kids do, man.
Dude, hey, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona right now, and I've had at least 7 or 8 clients tell me that there's furries at their kids' schools. Have you heard of that?
At the school?
At the school, they take a litter box and people have to say they're a cat.
What the,
I thought it was bullshit, bro, but these are all people that don't know each other saying the same shit at these schools.
what, adults are doing that or children are doing that?
No, children. They call them furries, and they identify as a cat. So they take a litter box to school, and people have to call them a they them or a fucking cat or whatever. Like, and this is real, bro. The first time I heard it, I said, "Get the fuck out of here!" And then I heard it again, and then I heard it again and again and again, and I was like,
Get
and these
the
people don't
fuck
know each other,
out
and their
of
kids go to
here.
different schools. But we're in Phoenix, Arizona, bro.
Get the fuck out of here is what I'm saying to you. Get the fuck out of here.
I'm still like, those parents, man. Someone needs to speak to those fucking parents.
It's messed up. So anyway, when I did those tweets on the trans agenda business, and some of them I was using satire, right? Satire is a powerful tool. You use humor, you deride and make fun or mockery to make people wake up, like slap them on the face, literally, kind of like. And so, for example, I did a post where I said, I googled, right, blood stained lion, right. So there's a picture of a lion with blood dripping off his chin. Okay, so I put that picture on X, and I said this lion identifies as a vegetarian. Right? Can you see where
That's
this is
good.
going? Right.
Yeah.
I did another one. Let me just show you. So I did something like this, right? Can you see my post? So I went,
Yeah.
young Indian village girl. Right? Yeah, there you go. So I took like this young Indian village girl, right? This girl, right? And I said, this young girl identifies as a Viking.
As a bike?
Viking.
Oh.
Like a Viking?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And then I just kept doing this. And it was basically to try and make people realize, you can identify as anything you like, but you know what? It doesn't change reality.
100%.
So this was like the lion, right? So I got this lion. I said this lion identifies as a vegetarian, right?
Oh, that's good.
And I just
I
kept
like
doing this
that.
kind of stuff. And there's another guy. What's that cartoon with like funny round people?
No, Veronique. No. No, espérate. Okay, dale. Yeah. You're welcome.
What's that small mobility scooter cartoon? What's that program that yeah, okay. So I did something like this, right? Mobility scooter of a cartoon, right? So I did this and I went, this person identifies as a triathlete.
Ah,
And it was just stuff like this, random shit like this, okay? And the whole point, and then there's another one, Dylan Mulvaney? Do you know
that's
Dylan Mulvaney?
a tranny, right?
Yeah. Dylan
Okay.
Mulvaney. So Dylan Mulvaney,
I've heard of the tranny. That name was the tranny, but was that from the Bud Light thing?
yes.
Okay.
That's it. So Dylan
Okay.
Mulvaney. Doc Malik, is this a woman? So I did, one of these pictures, I said, is this a woman? That's all I said. Is this a woman?
Yeah.
Right? She's still got a penis. She's a guy. And the hospital, one of the hospitals wrote back to me saying, we've had anonymous complaints about you that you're transphobic. So they haven't got anything on me for COVID because I kept saying to them, well, don't you see there's something wrong with COVID? Don't you want to look into it? What have I said that's wrong about the COVID shots? They kept like dodging that. And eventually they
Yeah.
came back and said, oh, we've got some anonymous complaints. We're referring you to the licensing board. And then everything just snowballed. Now, the licensing board looked into my case and said, no, there's nothing Ahmed is doing wrong that we can get him on. But yeah, he is a bit conspiratorial. Why don't you explore local hospital policies and guidelines? So that's what the private hospitals did. They went, we don't like you, get lost. They investigated me, didn't call me to any meetings, and kicked me out. And that was like 90% of my private practice just gone out the window like that overnight. Boom, gone. Then I was left with one last hospital, and I had a guest on, and it was just after October 7th. And she was like, look, this is all false flag and blah, blah, blah. You know, how could the most secure, um, by the way, sorry for pausing again. I'm just going to shut the blinds because the sun's beaming down on my
No
face.
problem, bro.
Hold on a sec.
Yeah. Okay, we good.
Yeah, so basically this guest of mine said there's some officials in the Israeli government who are openly asking for ethnic cleansing of the Palestinians. And yeah, the last private hospital that I was working in messaged me to say, "Oh, we've received an anonymous complaint that you're anti-Semitic. You're no longer able to work pending an investigation." I was like, "What? I've just been kicked out of two hospitals, and now you're suspending me of being anti-Semitic. Not even because of what I said, but what my guest said, and what my guest said was just honest truth. You know, it's on the internet, nothing, nothing more than that,
Yeah.
and it's on my private time. It's got nothing to do with patients, and you've admitted it's not patients who've complained, and you're just suspending me." And they went, "Yeah, what the fuck?" So while I'm suspended, I've got no money. I've been paying my secretary, even though I've been kicked out of the other hospitals. I thought I could build my practice back. I thought the other hospitals were just kidding and it was a temporary suspension. I've now been permanently kicked out. I've now been suspended. I just thought, you know what? I've had enough. What do? I either hold on to my license and try and build up my practice, and it'll take 2, 3 years. But every single time I say anything, these assholes, these motherfuckers are going to come for me and suspend me, refer me to the licensing board, tribunals, lawyers. And I've seen this playbook because by now I've been doing the podcast for 6, 7 months. I've spoken to doctors around the world: America, Canada, New Zealand, Australia,
Yeah.
Ireland, England. And it's the same playbook: anonymous complaints, suspensions, investigations, kangaroo courts, tribunals, expensive legal fees, struck off, disgraced.
What do you think the whole point of how they orchestrated everything for COVID? What do you think it was? Like,
I don't know. I think
what do you
there's
think the end game plan was? Like, just more like a power grab, or what do you think?
honestly, I don't know. I'm not in their heads and their minds. I can only
Yeah.
speculate. I can only speculate. If I
Yeah.
was to speculate, I would say there were multiple gains achieved. So it was a compliancy test. Let's see how the population does. Let's test out these behavioral manipulation techniques on them, and let's see how high they jump when we tell them to jump.
For sure.
So that, from a compliancy test, we really fucked up. They wanted to introduce the mRNA platform technology that's never been tested, proven to work. It's failed, flawed platform. Big pharma's on its knees, doesn't have any blockbuster drugs. You know what? They're desperate for something new. So you know what? They're happy with that. A lot of money to be made in this new platform, new factories, this new tech. Governments loved it because governments are all about control. Politicians love control, more power. they got to have more power. And whenever they take the power, they never give it back. You know, the Patriot Act, the COVID Act, whatever act, they take power. Your privacy goes out the window. Your freedoms go out the window. And, they never give it up. They take it, and you have to fight to get your freedoms back. So the politicians were happy. There might be a depopulation agenda. These things are very toxic. And the truth is, they knew it was toxic. They
Hmm.
knew it was harmful. This idea that, oh, they didn't know, mistakes were made. No, I don't believe that. Um, and maybe it's not the kill shot this time, but maybe everyone's a ticking time bomb. Who knows what's going to happen in 5, 10 years' time? We know all cause mortality went up after the shots. We know turbo cancers have gone up, autoimmune conditions have gone up, cardiac
In
problems have
all
gone up,
ages too.
all ages, mate. So, and everyone's a ticking time bomb because problems can be temporarily stretched out over a very long period of time, like short term complications, mid term, long term. So what's happening, and then what happens when they bring the next shot along? Maybe they fine tuned it, maybe they experimented on us, and to figure out which batch was more severe than another one. So maybe
Hmm.
maybe that's how they this has just been one big experiment for them to figure stuff out. And then there's a financial element. There's a lot of money injected into the financial system. Look, the fiat Ponzi whatever scheme that we've got, it's tinkering on it's on life support. It's like a zombie. It's a dead man walking. Like they've raped the world and the country with this usury debt-based fiat system, and they're limping along until they introduce another system. And this injected a lot of cash into the system. There's also a massive wealth transfer, huge. The middle class was demolished. Another thing they got was they got everybody on apps and phones. Even your grannies were now on apps and phones, and so banking now has happened. All that kind. So they're going to really bring in the digital passports, digital ID, vaccine passports. It was a time when they introduced 5G everywhere. Do you remember? Suddenly
Hmm.
5G popped up everywhere. So this
Yeah.
is what I mean. It wasn't just like one thing. So many things happened that were benefiting the powers at our expense. Um, Pure evil, if you ask me.
And a lot of distractions, so people just it's like right now with have you seen what's going on like in LA?
Yeah, the riots.
So I know you're in England, bro, but I love the way you think, and I know you're what do you think is going on with that?
There's it's problem reaction solution. I think there's two elements like this whole mass migration. What really pisses me off is that I don't believe in this mass illegal migration business, right? It's too much, right? You're overwhelming local communities, local societies, local cultures, local religions. It's wrong, right? That's a fact. And they're illegal. If you're illegal, man, it's illegal. It's wrong.
Mm,
But the very people who've organized and orchestrated this illegal mass migration on one hand, and it has been, by the way, this is a huge global endeavor, transferring and transporting millions of people around the world. This is a huge logistical thing, right? There's a lot of money involved. This is human trafficking. This is child trafficking. This is child abuse. It's fucking everything, right? This is organized,
yeah.
not just, "Oh, it just happened." No,
A lot
no,
of
no.
people think that things just like that. I think no, this is definitely all planned.
Dude, planned, organized, and executed, right? So the very people who've done that, planned, executed, and organized it, the same people then either directly or indirectly via proxies and avatars and social media commentators then criticize and go, "Oh, look at these third world immigrants destroying our culture and our country and blah, blah, blah. Look at these Muslims destroying our Judeo Christian values, blah, 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 blah." So hold on 1 second. What am I saying? It sounds weird. They brought the people over, but they're also criticizing it. Why would they do
Mm,
that? Well, the reason why they do that is because they win both ways. They bring everyone in, they destroy the nationhood, which they want, Because if you destroy the sovereign country, there's no obstacle to a one world government. They
Mm-hmm.
can they can then also at the same time pretend they've got nothing to do with it and that they're really against it so they don't get any heat or criticism. Then they can point it at bogeymen and say, oh, it's the Muslims, and create hatred and division. It's the fucking Mexicans or whatever, the Latinos, the dirty, lazy Latinos, the stupid Latinos and Muslims.
Bro,
So
it's fucked up.
you divide the culture, you get us all fighting amongst each other.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of thinking, okay, hold on 1 second. Who are the NGOs, the Soroses and the bankers and cabal that are actually transporting all these people?
Mm-hmm.
Who's bombing these countries, destabilizing them, overturning their legitimate democratically elected government and rulers, and implanting extremists? So, take, for example, Libya, take, for example, Syria,
Yeah.
right? Take, for example, Iraq, Yemen, all these places, there were functioning societies and it doesn't matter what you think of Gaddafi or Saddam or Assad, whatever. Like they were safe, they were stable. We went in there and fucked them up. We
Mm-hmm.
supported the fundamentalists, the extremists. We did that. We gave money and arms, CIA support, MI6 and Mossad to all the fucking terrorists in the Middle East. We did that.
Yeah.
And then they overturn all the secular governments and the societies. And then why would we do that? Because then we can control them, and at the same time we can take their resources, we can continue bombing them because they're just stupid, dirty ragheads, Muslim fundamentalists, uncultured. We're better and superior than them with our Judeo-Christian values. What do they know? Let's bomb the fuck out of them. It's always win-win. It's always win-win. So when the secular government stands up and goes, no, we're not going to do what your Western imperialism wants. We're not going to let your companies rape our land and take our oil and resources. We're not going to bend the knee to you and the bankers. We're going to do what's right for our country, and we're going to live harmoniously and be a strong nation. Well, what do you think the West says? And the bankers and the globalists are like, well, we need to fucking take this guy down. You need to take him out.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Yeah,
you take
we
Syria, for example, you've got Jelani in power. Jelani used to be in Al Nusra Front. He was a fucking terrorist. He was locked up in a jail. Then he gets released from an American prison or whatever. And now he's the head of another fucking fundamentalist group. Now he's wearing a suit and he's been civilized. But he's a fucking head chopper. And we're like supporting him. And now in the streets of Damascus, you've got the raving gangs, roaming gangs, raping women, kidnapping them, beating up ethnic minorities, Christians, whatever. Like these are Muslims. They're not fucking Muslims. They're as much Muslims as your pedophilic priest is a Catholic. They're
mm-hmm.
not. These are bad people. And guess what? We support them in the West. We give them money and the arms and then we then say, "Oh, look how pathetic they are. See, they're all like that." No, the people of the Middle East are like you and me. They love their kids. They want good food on the table. They want a roof over their heads. They want to go out to a park. Believe it or not, that's what they fucking want, right? They don't want to take over the world. They don't want an Islamic caliphate or all over the world. It couldn't care fucking less. But the media portrays Muslims wanting to take over the world, barbaric, blah, blah. No, they don't. And the ones that they transfer over here are the ones that they themselves have radicalized. Like,
Yeah.
but it's always problem, reaction, solution. And you know what? There's a group of people who are doing a lot of bad stuff in the name of a religion. They claim to be the God's chosen people. I don't think they are. These they don't represent all of them. But they brought down the twin towers. They killed RFK in '63. They shot up USS Liberty. They caused all these wars and mayhem around the Middle East, and now they're the ones bombing Iran. And it's so funny the hypocrisy. They go, to defend ourselves, we had to be the aggressor. Like, dude, what the fuck? That doesn't even make sense. We struck first because it was an existential threat. They were gonna bomb us again, the nuclear bomb. So hold on one second. There's no evidence that they've got a nuclear bomb. There's no evidence they're going to bomb you. The only person in the Middle East who's got nuclear bombs is Israel. So you're allowed to bomb. You're allowed to attack first, be an aggressor. You're allowed to
Mm-hmm.
take a bit of Lebanon. You're allowed to take a bit of the Golan, Damascus, and Syria, and even more now. You're allowed to take land from the Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza. Yeah, you're allowed to do that and attack other people first in the name of self defense. And you're allowed to have a nuclear bomb, but apply any of those standards to anyone else. And it's like, look at those dirty Muslims. Look at those
Mm-hmm.
terrorists. Look at that nasty regime. And then they go, oh, look at Hamas. They've got rockets in the middle of their city and towns. They're using humans as human shields. That's why we have to bomb everything to rubble. And that's why there's people dying. It's Hamas's fault. Well, listen, Gaza's tiny and there's no fucking place anywhere that they can have any kind of like guns or anything. And it's not even an army that's fighting back. But now it's become apparent that the IDF, its headquarters are in the middle of downtown Tel Aviv. Like, are they not using like humans as human shields? Like,
Mm-hmm.
why can't you apply the same logic back? But it's not. They're always the victims,
Did
and
you
they're always yeah. It's just
did you see that
BS, man.
lady, Miss Rachel, the teacher of kids? What happened with her?
No, what happened?
She's like a teacher on YouTube that teaches kids like their ABCs and all this stuff. And all she did was she posted, "I don't like seeing children die." And then the I guess the um,
System.
federal government started investigating her for supporting them, and it's like makes sense to say to me. It makes sense to say, I don't, I don't care what race you are. Kids dying is not cool. And why are they shutting people up that say that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Why are they?
See, and it's like even right now, like in LA, like there's a lot of people, there's a lot of Mexicans going against each other. And at the end of the day, I'm like, dude, so many people, they're so extreme right or extreme left instead of
Yeah.
thinking like, hey, both sides don't give a fuck about us.
100%.
Both sides don't give at the end of the day, it's us and then it's them. But so many people are just divided with hate, and it's fucking insane, bro. And then like everybody that's burning down shit and throwing bricks at the cops, those aren't normal people. That's like, I think they're paid actors. I think
They're
I think it's all
listen,
part of a plan.
dude,
And
100% they're
and you say
paid
that to
actors.
people and they're like, no, though, like you need to just deport those people. And it's like, dude, everybody that I know that just wants to like take care of their family and like they're not involved in any shit, they're not gonna be out doing that's like not normal. You know what I mean? And then I saw that a senator was just questioning what was happening, and then the FBI escorted him out, handcuffed him, and it's like, why? And then you question that, and then people are like, oh, so you think it's okay for immigrants to be? And it's like, dude, the point is that if they can do that to a senator, what the fuck are they going to do to us? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, but no, people don't think like that. They're just like, yeah, shut him up because it's against what I think. And it's like, man, like if they're doing that shit to them, what are they going to? Because it's always at the end of the day, as you know, it's us and then it's them, but everybody's just so right or left, and that's it. And it's like, dude, you don't have dinner with these people. These people don't give a fuck about you, bro. They don't like you. They just want to have power, and they're always trying to figure out how they could have more power over us and fuck us over more. And people don't get it, bro.
They can't. So I'm going to tell you a weird thing happened to me. Yesterday, I got a message on my phone at 6:51 in the morning. Please phone me. I'm like, what? And it's a former politician, Andrew Bridgen, MP here in the UK.
Yeah.
Like a former congressman. Okay, he was very outspoken against COVID. He talks about the corruption in politics. He says everyone's captured, complicit, or compromised. They're all druggies, pedophiles, you name it. And he
Oh, they
goes,
must hate him.
yeah. I said to him, like, so what's happening? And he goes, oh, all that stuff that's happening in America, all those riots, it's the MI6. I was like, what? He goes, yeah, yeah, we're funding and organizing it. I was like, are you joking? He He goes, no, no, it's all the city of London. It's all being organized. And I wouldn't be surprised if the CIA has outsourced this stuff to the MI6 because the CIA can't do anything on its home shore, can only work abroad. But what it can do is outsource the dirty work to other intelligence agencies like Mossad and MI6. All of this is paid agitation.
What's
And
MI6?
MI6 is the equivalent of the CIA in the UK.
Oh, okay. And he said they're funding what's happening?
Yeah. So this former politician said our intelligence agency is behind what's going on in America. Now, why? Again, problem, reaction, solution. You let the riots burn on for a bit. You sensational TV, distract from other stuff that's going on, and then say we've got a problem, we've got a crisis. We need to get mandatory digital ID for everyone.
Hmm.
Everyone in this country needs digital ID.
Yeah, because
To,
now is the time where they want to push that real ID on everybody.
dude, and when that digital ID fucking comes, I mean, that's the beginning of the enslavement, full stop,
You
non-stop.
you won't be able to say shit. We won't be able to have these
We
conversations.
won't be able to have these conversations. They
We
will
barely
fuck us
can
up.
now.
Exactly. It'll be like, oh, we saw you did a podcast with Doc Malik. Yeah, we're locking you out your bank account. You're not able to buy meat. Blah,
And
blah,
that's
blah.
step one. And then step two, right this way to a fucking cell.
Yeah. You lose your house. You don't have a home.
Bro,
You don't have
yeah, like
anything.
I've had a couple people tell me that in LA they've seen trucks pull up and they'll like set bricks down and then they're like handing out masks and handing out all this stuff. And then I tell people,
Proper.
I'm like, dude, these
Yeah.
are not people from there. Like they're not normal people. Like something's
So,
not right. And people
so
are like,
listen.
no, it's because these are the immigrants and are the people supporting the immigrants. I'm like, dude, everybody that I know that they're not gonna do that. You
So,
know what I
dude, have
mean?
you have
They
you
want
ever
to
seen
protest
Purge?
for one reason or another, whatever
Yeah,
side they're on, but they're not like someone else is doing that shit.
100%. Have you seen the movie Purge?
Yeah.
One of the episodes, the government goes around in these big, massive lorries shooting people up because the reality is most people don't want to kill each other. They aren't violent. They don't want to kill. So they
Yeah.
send in these massive lorries to just fucking cause mayhem to make it look like, yeah, it's all false flag. So I don't know if it's the CIA telling the MI6 to do this. I don't know if it's the CIA. Like, all of them are working for the same people, the bankers, the evil ones. Everything's a stage. Everything's acted out.
It's
None of
all a
this is
show,
organic.
bro. And people just don't. People are. I thought COVID woke a lot of people up, and then a lot of these people that thought, oh, okay, they see what's going on. They're blind again, bro.
Blind again. Dude, I've realized most people are dumb as shit. I hate saying this.
I know. Hey, when I speak to a lot of people like this, I'll be like, "Oh shit, they get it," and then they'll say some shit, and I'm like, "Damn, they don't. They don't." What? No common sense, bro, is gone.
No, exactly. Just when I think I'm making progress with someone then, like you said, they'll just say something. I'll be like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Oh, they're like, you're like, "Oh shit. Oh, this person's fucking. They're conscious. They're see," and then they'll say, "Damn, never."
Yeah, yeah,
I get
yeah.
disappointed all the
Like,
time, bro.
like I'm just gonna go and get a McDonald's. I'm like, what? You're gonna eat McDonald's? And they're like,
Dude, straight up, bro.
or is that? Oh, I'm never taking a COVID shot again. I'm like, oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah, because it's not like the other vaccines. Other vaccines are really good for you. You know that. I'm like,
Oh, yeah, I'm
oh,
not gonna get a COVID shot, but I saw that Walgreens is doing flu shots, so I'm gonna go grab one. And
yeah,
you lost me there, bro. You lost me
yeah,
right there,
yeah, 100%, 100%. So much
bro.
like
So
this,
okay,
or it's like I don't believe the government. I don't believe the government anymore after COVID. Like they lied to us. I don't like the government, but I stand by Ukraine. I stand by Ukraine. Like the government told me to stand by Ukraine. The media, the mainstream media, told me to stand by Ukraine. I stand by Ukraine now. And you're like, you just told me you don't trust the mainstream media and the government anymore. Yeah, but that was COVID. Like they wouldn't lie
bro.
to us about Ukraine. And you're like, are you fucking kidding me?
I
Like,
was
and
talking to some people the other day, and they were talking about that, and then they were like, "Well, on the live news, this happened and this happened," and I said, "Man, is it not a thought of, through any of your guys' mind, that before these people get on camera, that they're not like, hey guys, how do we need to make this look so it's better for us and not good for them?"
yeah,
Like me and you right now, we could create a fucking movie right now. We could say like we act like we hate each other. People will believe it. We could act like we're a couple of gay motherfuckers. You know what I mean? And people will, like, you know what I mean? Like it's crazy, bro. But people just don't. And I'm like, dude, just because it's live TV does not mean shit. Like, oh, bro, it's crazy.
it's big time crazy.
It's
Where do we
sad.
even begin? It's very sad, but it's like it comes back to like we as a society need to up our game because we as society have enabled this problem to happen because we've abdicated our responsibility to these idiots. We don't think, we don't critically think, we don't challenge. We're lazy. We're mentally lazy. We're physically lazy. We eat garbage. We're poisoned by the in the air, the food, the water, everywhere, which ways. And I'm not blaming all people, but we need to take some responsibility. There's enough information out there that people shouldn't figure out like something's wrong. We've all bought into that consumerism, materialism, trying to make ends meet, trying to get on in life, but
Do
we've
you think
lost
people that are still like
sight.
asleep and aren't conscious, do you think it's too late to wake them up, or do you think some people still have a chance?
I think some people have a chance, but I think a lot of people are spiritually dead. They're just
Yeah.
NPCs now. Like they're just going through the motion. They're lying so much that they've forgotten what the truth is. They lie that they enjoy their job and they get on well with their boss. They lie that they're happy in their marriage. They lie that they know their kids. They lie that they're happy. They're just living this non existent life with instant dopamine hits, but they're just empty inside, vacuous.
What can those
But not
people
everybody,
do,
not
bro?
everybody, not everybody, not everybody.
Well, the people that are like that, like, what do you think it would take to wake them up and realize, hey, you're fucking dying. You could do things different.
Do you know what? You can't help anyone. You can only help yourself. I've realized that you can help educate and inform people and put seeds in their head and make them
Yeah.
think, but ultimately they need to decide that one day, you know what? No, enough is enough. They're gonna wake up to things, and sometimes, do you know what? People don't, and a lot of people won't. And millions might die, and the millions have died. If you look at what the communists have done, they've killed literally about 100 million people over the last century. In Ukraine, the Holodomor, in Cambodia, in China. The communists were evil, evil
Yeah.
assholes. And a lot of people died. And I think, I hate to say this, but I think a lot of people are going to die this time around as well. A lot of people are going to suffer.
Yeah.
And and that's the only thing that's going to make really people wake up. Because the problem is right now, we're designing, manufacturing, building, and walking into our prisons. And on the way into the prison, we hand the evil ones the keys to the cell, and then we thank them and say, "Thank you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for
Hmm.
protecting us." That's how stupid we are right now. And the thing is, there's supposedly 8 billion of us. There's more of us than them. Tomorrow, we could turn everything around. Imagine, like, there's this really evil person out there, right? Imagine his driver just goes, "You know what? I don't want to drive for you anymore. I hate you. I hate what you do." The cook goes, "I'm not going to cook for you." The security guard goes, "I sod this. You know what? You're on your own." And before you know it, that guy's in this house on his own with no cleaners, no drivers, no cooks, no nothing. And then he rings up the politician to do his bidding, and every politician he rings just
Dale para allá,
hangs
bro.
up.
Dale para allá.
And then
Yeah.
every journalist that contacts to say, "Write a hit piece on this person," the journalists don't answer his call and ignore him. Just imagine how powerless that person would be. Imagine he went down to the shops. No one wants to sell to him. He might be a multi-billionaire, but now he's lonely. He can't get food. He has to drive himself. No one will do anything for him.
Do you think that that's
It's in our power.
and it makes sense? Do you think that that's why they're doing this immigration thing right now, so they could just push on the like the real ID and all the digital stuff?
I think it's multifactorial. I think it's lots of reasons. So one will be the digital ID. One is undermining the local people so that you can cut costs and have a cheaper wage system. Inject more of the population to keep the economy buoyant. The new immigrants are always a lot more grateful to the government and are less likely to challenge the government because they're
Yeah.
scared that they'll be get kicked out. So they're going to be more conformist and obedient. You're getting more people and removing the traditional cultures and traditions, making people less grounded in any one place, more unsettled, easily to control that way. You're destroying the nation state. You know what? Everyone's a mix. Why do we need to have a United States of America? Why can't we just be a North American conglomerate? Like we're all from all over the world. We all love each other. We all get on well. Why we don't need a USA anymore? Let's just make it Greater America, like America and Mexico and Canada and Greenland. One big block. Like all these things are much easier when you've got this mass migration. You know
Yeah. Dale, Bernie, dale para allá. Dale, agárralo. Dale. Dale, dale, dale.
what? What do you think? What do you think of mass migration?
Um, sí, dale para allá. Like what's happening in the States. Yeah, I personally think yeah, I think it's all just part of the agenda, bro. Like I think that they made it like when they did the news and they said all these immigrants are pouring in, da da da. I think that was exactly a setup for what's happening now, because what they're doing now is now they have everybody see that's what happened. He let all these immigrants in. Now we got to get them all out. And I think it's personally because that's the agenda. So people will say, okay, so you can't get a real, we need to all have a real ID, a digital ID to make sure that we're all legal here. And then they're just falling into the trap. That's what I think. It was all a well thought out plan.
Yes.
At the end of the day, I always think it's always just them thinking 10 steps ahead, like chess. How are we going to get more control over these people? And then everybody always falls. Every time something happens, all I see, bro, is people bashing each other.
Mm.
Family, friends, people that were cool, bashing each other when it's like, okay, maybe you see it a little different. Let's talk about it. But at the end of the day, how can we help each other? How can we be people just, it's either one fucking side or the other. And nobody still gets it, bro, that there ain't one side or the other. People play into that, and it drives me crazy because I'm not left, I'm not right, anything. I'm just like, hey, what's right and what's fucking wrong, and that's it. But everybody falls in. So I always think it's just at the end of the day, it's just all more control over all of us, bro.
Yeah.
It's
100%.
all, and it's like if it's on the news, then it's definitely some agenda behind it to fuck us over more and take more power over us and shut up people like me and you that want to think for ourselves, because it's not good if you're thinking for yourself. You need to just pay your taxes, not question anything, shut the fuck up, and be divided with everybody else, and that's it, and then fucking die.
I don't know about you, but I hate taxis.
Oh, bro. Hey, California, dude. I mean, some states are worse than other, but you get taxed even here in Arizona. But California, you get taxed on taxes on taxes. Everything has a tax on it, bro. Everything. Like when I get things shipped to me, I have a PO box in California, and then I have a my place here. The taxes just to get it's like I don't know how much more, but it's always way more just for something that you bought. You know what I'm saying? And it's like there's taxes on your food, there's taxes on your gas, there's everything has its tax. Everything, everything.
It's evil. It's pure evil. I mean, like, how do we get conned into thinking it's okay to work 40 hours every week for 40 years to then retire? And then when we die, whatever we've saved up, we have to give a big chunk of that again to the tax man.
Bro, people
How the
just don't question anything, bro. People just
it's
don't.
fucking bullshit. It's
They
bullshit,
just
dude.
don't question. They're like, well, if the news says that we should do that and that it's good for us, and if the government says it, then and if everybody else is doing it, then I guess it must be good. That's just how fucking people think, bro.
Uh,
People are scared to speak up. That's why I admire what you are, man, as a man, because I love that you're always looking for the truth. That you're always you're not scared to say what you think and say what you see. And dude, if we had like a couple thousand of you, we could make a fucking difference in the world. But it seems like people hear you speak, or they'll hear people like me speak, and they'll be like, "Damn, that sounds like fucking trouble." I don't want to cause any waves. I don't want people to criticize me, and that's a big part of the problem why we're at where we're at today, man.
100%. Maybe you should save your contact as. Maybe I should save you as American trouble.
I think you're way worse.
Oh,
I'm pretty angelic.
I
So
love it.
if you had some good parenting advice, what would it be, bro?
Oh, definitely keep your kids off the TV and screen time as much as possible. Like, don't cut it out completely because, like, everything, then they'll rebel. But, like, limit it to about 30 minutes, 45 minutes in a day max.
Yeah.
Um, get them outside playing as much as possible. Let them do creative stuff, paint, draw, make a mess. Make sure your house doesn't look like a sterile clinic, but it's like a home. Kids' toys everywhere. Stuff like that. Um, spend as much time talking to them. Don't give them an iPad just so that it gives you a bit of free time. I see mums and dads on their phone and their kids on their screens. It's like, what the fuck, man?
What
Talk to
about
each
those
other.
people that have their kids on their screens for like 8 hours if they want to get them off? But the kid, I've seen videos where kids freak the fuck out. What would you tell a
well,
parent like that?
well, that's your fault. You did that. You made
Hundred
them
percent.
have develop a reptilian brain, and now you're suffering from it, and you need to fucking get them off it. They're drug addicts. And on that note, it's 10 past 8 here. I'd love to wrap up so I can go and tuck my little boy into bed. So every night we do bedtime stories. I hold his hand, I give him a cuddle, I put him to bed. Make sure you feed them proper food. Don't give
Yeah.
them snacks and treats. Think of those as poisons. I'll just give my kids some Oreos, some Pringles, some chips. No,
Poison.
it's fucking poison. Just don't use the word treat. Don't. It's poison.
I like
Anytime you
that.
go into a convenience store, just look around and look at all the poisons and all the lovely shades of color. They're all poison. Just think of it as poison. What you give your children in terms of food will really determine their physical and mental health. So talk
Hundred
to them,
percent.
spend time with them, get them off the screens, get them reading, get them connected with nature, exercise, self defense, get them into jiu-jitsu or kickboxing so they can stand up for themselves, and teach them to question everything. And it's really fucking hard because you just want them to do things and clean and tidy up or whatever. And when they talk back and they ask questions, it's harder. Trust me, I know. But then those are the kind of kids that will question authority. If you just drum into them, be quiet, do this, you are traumatizing them.
Yeah.
You are damaging them in the long run. And do you want that? As a parent, your one fucking job is to bring up beautiful kids into this world until they're adults and they can fend for themselves. So for a few years, just fucking sacrifice your life and do what's best for your kids.
100%. Two more questions. You good?
Yeah, quick. And
Okay.
then I'm going to shoot.
If you died tomorrow, what would your last advice be to your kids
You
for
stole
life?
that from me, you piece of shit.
No, yours is a little different, but it's
Yeah,
close.
it's close. It's close. But it's good. That's what is it? When you copy someone, it's the ultimate flattery. No, I love that. I'm glad you asked me that. Um, I would just honestly, it's really corny and cliche, but I would just say think for yourself, question everything, and
Yeah.
don't go along just to fit in. If everyone is climbing off a cliff, jumping off a cliff, don't just watch them do it. Doesn't mean that you have to do it as well. Just because all your friends have a fucking phone doesn't mean you need a phone.
100%.
You know? But
Yeah.
dad, everyone's got a phone. Great, they're brain dead, not you.
And first
Like,
and okay, one last question, bro. So there's a lot of people that see what's going on and they see what me and you see, but they're scared to speak up. What would you say to somebody like that that's afraid to speak up?
yeah, why are you scared? And if it's scared because you're going to lose your job, then find a way of working that you're not beholden to anyone. If you're working for someone else, stop working for someone else. Work for yourself. Be independent. If you're worried about being cancelled, guess what? Cancel yourself. Just cancel it. So no one else can fucking cancel you.
Yeah,
Get into
I
a
like that.
position where you're independent, you're autonomous, and you can be yourself and authentic. Because right now you might be bottling it all up and living your life quietly, just getting along. But guess what? Deep inside, that's eating you up. It is eating up your soul. It will cause stress.
Kill your soul, bro.
It will cause cancer or disease or an ailment. But most importantly, your spiritual soul is dying. And
Yes.
this existence is just a blink of the eye. We are eternal spiritual beings. And when we check out of this existence, imagine this massive big scoreboard. And imagine like when you come out and everyone's going to be like, oh, wow. And they're either going to say, man, look at that. You got bonus points, triple this. You fucking aced that level on planet Earth. High
Uh,
five. You're fucking awesome. Or you're going to come out and it'll be like,
oh,
oh
you
man,
were a
you,
weak bitch with that one opportunity. Oh
yeah,
my, how embarrassing.
you fucking bummed out, man. Oh my God, I can't even, oh, feel sorry
I
for you.
like that, bro. That is good. I'm going to
That
use that.
real,
I'm stealing that too.
yeah, well, you can steal it. So, like, but you see what I mean? That's what it's going to be like. Like, so what is your,
100%, bro.
like, when you depart, what are you going to be like? What do you want your kids to remember you like? When you meet all your spiritual, eternal beings in the next existence, are you going to be like, yeah, do you know what? Yeah, I did the right thing. I aced that level. Or are you going to
And
be a big fat,
100%, bro. I love it. We got to do a part two sooner or later, man. And
anytime?
I
So sorry.
thank you, brother. Hey, great, man. I love what you're doing, bro. Like, thank you, because you bring a lot of light to humanity, and what you're doing with your one chance here, man. It's inspiration, man. It's power, and thank you. I'm glad we crossed paths, bro.
All right. God bless.